be able to read what's on a post-it note, you're a certain distance, and using a Sharpie or a texter or something, people are going to be able to see it.
That's right.
Whereas just a ballpoint pen has sort of got to be...
I've always got a Sharpie in my pocket, except for right now because I put it on one of those tables.
I've got like some spares.
Yeah. And I actually haven't written with a ballpoint pen in about 18 months.
Yeah.
So I just use it. But there's these as well if anyone needs it. So just here, just come grab it.
So yeah, any sort of grid work, try not to use a ballpoint pen so that other people can read what you do.
So I want to elaborate a little on the affinity mapping and what it can do. Like, do you guys know XKCD? Is the online comic? Most of you would. Yeah, some of you don't. So those of you that don't, write on a post-it note xkcd.com, stick it in your pocket, and then later on look it up and then just subscribe to it because it's like offbeat and weird and funny all at the same time, right? So it's free. This is an XKCD cartoon. Sometimes they're trying to be funny, sometimes they're just like explorations into ideas. Now this is a picture of the Star Wars trilogy from the 70s and 80s, right? And what those coloured lines are is they're plot threads, right, with characters, right? So the yellow one's C-3PO, the brown one is Chewie, and the others are what they're doing colours, right? Green's probably Yoda. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Kind of disappears after he kills himself or fades away or whatever he does. So with affinity mapping and identifying, what basically we're doing is we're identifying the kind of key themes within the story, right? So you just did a whole bunch of idea generation. That model of Star Wars that we're looking at here, you see that you don't have to go through every line in the script to be able to narrate the story, right? You can kind of zero in on like, there's the bit where Han gets frozen. Has anyone here not seen the first Star Wars film? Just check that, right? You're not that young, dude.
See how proud I am?
I'll send it to places.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I picked Star Wars because it's supposed to be like universal, but
No, it's only
so there's a bit where Han's frozen. There's a bit where Luke gets his Jedi training. There's a bit where Luke and Vader fight, right? So in affinity mapping, you're going to get all the stuff that's around the Han getting frozen on Cloud City, and you're going to get all the stuff that's about Luke getting his Jedi training, right? And you'll group those particular things together, and then by doing that, you kind of get this model of the whole thing, right? And these clusters of ideas that shape up. And then later on, we can actually think about the bits that bridge them, but usually are less important. So you good? Another 5 minutes? Have fun.
We've got to put a few base. Let's just put this on. Let's just put those up and group them. Let's put those up and group them by affinity. Oh, you are. Share it. So this is like, I guess, yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's sort of moving towards the bigger. Here we go. You should access
Stuff that needs to work for you to actually
see, yeah. That's right. That's how he gets his procedures. Pretty good. He's sort of, I think it's like a yes, but much like so they can sort of as a way of saying yeah, so like this is like the system. So just around the robo is the idea. It's basically yeah. So there's like an aspect to helping someone's really hockey. Yes, I got it. It's stuff that he's control system over recycling to how he waste down. This is work area console. Probably not doing much. Just making sure everything is working. It's not often he's actually asked to play.
My assumption was like it has to be ready to go.
It's got to be ready to go.
That's why I put you're ready. I mentioned that as a sheet.
I'd say the security. No, weights for the communication. One is just the power system, the targeting system.
What kind of like testing is about is there like is there a test fire as well?
You have to do some testing, just like daily testing, weekly testing. Target breaks. What do we do?
Use a lighting system.
How much fire? Maybe that's not the practice. You have to tune the target system, though. Probably somewhere
So yeah, I would like to send
So this is actually where we're a stakeholder in someone else's.
Craig, we can't run those stuff.
Oh, you can have both. Yeah, if you run out,
Yeah.
if you run out.
There are stuff, so one of the automated
So separate them a bit more, so they're more distinct, right? And you look at them and you go, what else is important? The other thing you might do is like, you guys
But I think our look is it's more up to someone else's.
Yeah, so we're getting it. So that's
Yeah, all right.
So, you know,
And many stakeholders.
right? Dealing with these things and see what's really.
Okay, so alright, security.
How does it know?
So it's 1025.
Swap card or something.
High level security than that, but as in like,
Retina scan.
Okay,
Scatica.
So, thanks everyone. Another iteration down.
There's kind of border.
Raucous
And there's
balls again.
Let's talk about where we're at.
different things altogether. Security.
So guys, you guys, that corner. I can know some of at each table, so
We got us set it first.
no, just a quick debrief, like a lesson out of that activity. Can you get it? Anyone start? What do we get out of that activity?
Spread activities out.
Tell them, shout it out loud.
Make sure it's spread out
And why is that useful?
visually.
Yeah, what happened when you guys did that? Like you went from like it was all clustered but like grouped, but then you separated them out. Did you think about it differently, or did it just feel better, or what happened?
No, we didn't really react very much to it. We did it, and then that was the case.
Tell us, dude.
It looks cleaner. It certainly looks cleaner. And then when we came up with a new one, we started to say, hang on, where does it fit? And we actually couldn't. I think we sort of just left it hanging out there, and it really felt like these things needed to fit together. So yeah, the clusters are more important because they're separated from each other.
Okay. Anyone else? Like, you know, you're talking about the activity and the learning, or the discovery that comes through the activity. Anyone else?
I think you start to see gaps or holes. So there are whole big chunks of functionality or themes or something that,
How does Han Solo get to Cloud City? Yeah.
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 So yeah, just seeing, once you've got it laid out, just say, what about that bit? Yeah, we thought about that.
So then you got to start adding new posters.
We're thinking about it.
Yeah. Didn't you? That's the next iteration.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I didn't say this, but I started thinking a whole lot of things that weren't directly needed by Carl to job, but he was needed to sort of live and exist. I just started parking him in the back of my breaks.
Oh yeah, so there's like managing the gun, but there's also where do I sleep, where do I eat? Yeah.
Which would have to be different.
You got that? You got those things? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the next iteration I thought we'd do is like the actual fill the gaps. Right, so another 5 minutes. And for those of you that use these tools, things like use cases and process models and stuff, you can kind of think about them to help guide the way, Step 1, they do this, step 2, they do that, step 3, they do that, right? Yeah, another way to do it is to pick up Zach, right? Or Gary. Just walk them through, right? Yeah. When they're dealing with this stuff, what's going to happen, right? How do they get there? What do they do when they get there? Who do they talk to? How do they handle it? What if something goes wrong? And just talk yourself as a group through those activities. Okay. So the next iteration is to actually apply the person to the scenario or to the stuff that you've got on the wall and start fleshing it out, pick up things that you've missed, right? And you use some of these structured tools like walking the persona through the scenarios or process models or use cases or whatever, right? Now, if you want to stay user-centered, use the character that you created. That's why we did it, right? So, yeah, another 5 minutes. How are we going, by the way? Is this all okay?
Right.
Anyone bored shitless? Good. Yeah? Sorry, Simon.
I think this is about Star Wars.
Yeah. All right, cool. Next round. Just so you know, we've got 15 minutes all up, so I'm actually this is a 2-minute iteration because I'm running out of 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So after
What's he doing?
Nearly full. Just gotta go through 5 minutes. Yes, that takes 5 minutes. Went on about Costanza with the bed built.
Let him do it.
Because if you offer that job, would you want it? He's willing to.
You have to clock in and clock out. Oh no,
Ready.
And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking this way. Jump out of bed and just like people
Does he do the tuning of it? Like, can he do it from the console? Does he need a the laser's really goes off.
All right.
How many stars do you get to blow up?
Yeah, I've kind of had 7 or 8 minutes.
So it's fine.
No more debriefing on that one. What are we going to do now is show you a picture. And so this is an activity. For those of you, basically Graham, a couple of weeks ago I went over to the library and with the team that managed the library, which is a big building over yonder. And we did a bit of a thing around the themes of work that they're doing. And so where this is heading is you've generated a whole bunch of stuff, you've created themes. So with each of those themes, they're kind of like a topic, right? You know, and you're familiar with that kind of three-level hierarchy of the user story, you know, the theme, the epic, and the story, right? So now you're starting to actually shape up. You've got the themes recognised, you know, within them. You're starting to see some of the epics. Some of the stuff's like more detailed, but like you're starting to see it shape up. So what I'm going to ask you guys now to do is, in the next 5 minutes, I want you to, you know, it's this hierarchy thing. Create what I said in the original thing is kind of create the backbone of the story, right? Which is the themes, but also I'll just push it along to the next level as well, which is like the epics or the high-level stories, right? So kind of create that top 2-level thing. So you've got like the main themes, and then the key things you want to deliver underneath it, right? So there's the main theme, there's the key thing. So you got like the guy that works with the guns, right? You know, one of the things that he wants is like he wants a big gun that goes fast, right? So big gun goes fast, pretty easy to reconcile. Well, for the lifestyle things, he wants like a comfortable chair, he wants a nice clean uniform, he wants dry cleaning on site, you know. So you start to come up with those things. So if you start to shape it into something that looks like that, particularly focused on those top 2 levels. You ready for that? 5 minutes. Is that any questions? You're giving me the squeeze.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
All right, so you can rely on these guys. Yeah. You guys, you cool? So you can use the contrasting colours to create 2 tiers.
So I reckon this is what I'm thinking, but sometimes I'm telling I'm wrong.
Safety? What else is that?
Talking about workplace safety or
Well, I'm thinking there's from the design point of view, then there's the actual operation, there's the actual. So which one?
Yeah, the actual interface of the things it's using.
You've got the root of the operation, you've got the actual issue. So when it's actually
Okay,
something.
so the process is okay. Special mission and
The interface will come across the body's routine operation will require an interface in order to accomplish. Yeah. So yeah, you expect the UI to be a sort of vertical slice across all of these.
yeah, that's one point.
Maybe.
I was thinking good techniques rather than walk down and like aesthetic and not just kind of think of everything that theme, and then you can kind of order them by size. So something seems bigger than something else. You go, well, that's up there, and then that kind of reveals, and that reveals your ethics. So like a canteen. The next thing someone's doing sort of like a doing the job. That's
Alright, safety right. We want to make it
it's going to require a lot of stories underneath that. So most of these are
different requirements for
exactly.
We're trying to just focus on one.
You're going to need some instruction.
Actually, maybe. So we'll do that. We're just doing it. Let's just write this right because it's leadership. It's like a bit of an angle going on there. I draw a start. So what else?
This is all Freddie.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, look, I mean, the reason it's short is for us.
Alright, so I'm fast iterations. Chaos.
so what we're saying about that,
So what did you guys, who wants to sort of share a lesson out of that section?
Sorry, say that again.
Who wants to share a lesson out of that particular iteration?
Too short.
I think it's easy to. I think it's easy when you're doing this kind of exercise to get bogged down in what are epics and what are features and what are themes. I think sometimes you just need to think about what you're doing and what's actually needed, and then sort of think about what are epics out of that and what are themes and features. If you start going, oh, what are the epics? You start going down a path that's difficult to actually come up with anything. So
Yeah.
it's easier to order stuff once you've got everything on the wall and you can say, oh, that's bigger than that and that's bigger than that, and,
That's part of the glory of Post-it notes.
Yeah.
Like you just look at it, you go, oh, I can tinker with that. Let's change the shape of it, right? I like that better, I don't like it better. Change it to something else until you're satisfied. So you can change as you go. The purpose of this is to start to decompose it and partition it is the jargon phrase, right? Break it down into discrete components, right? So the themes are discrete components, and then that first level set of things that you're looking at are discrete components, right? That thing that I showed you at the beginning with the Stormtroopers, as I want to say that, right? Sometimes it's actually a really good technique, particularly at this stage, because it just helps you think right through, who am I doing this for? Why am I doing it, right? They're two questions that you should always ask yourself. And sometimes when you're writing things on Post-it notes too, you can be quite ambiguous, and then when you go back to it half an hour later, well, it could mean 3 or 4 different things instead of the one thing you meant when you first wrote it down. So it's sometimes good to apply those techniques. Not always. Sometimes you just be ambiguous, and then you talk through the ambiguity later. Right? The next thing I wanted to do was I'll go back to a 5-minute iteration for you. Right? The next thing I want you to do is to continue to think about what you were doing then, like separating the themes, and then the next level of big containers and work. Right? For me, the metaphor for stories is containers. Right? They're a box you put things in. Right? And we're going to then unpack those boxes into the details of what you would deliver. Right? So that's the third level down. Right? And for the third level, just do stacks of what would you want to see out first and what would you want to see out last. Right? And we'll actually do 2 of these iterations in quick succession. Okay? So the first one gives you an opportunity to catch up on that, but then also start to decompose. And then the second one, we'll just do another one. And at the end of it, hopefully you get something that looks a little like that. Right? That's like 4 levels, but don't worry about it. We're only really going for 3 levels. So big picture, then unpack that into 2 or 3 or 1 or whatever, subsets, and then unpack those into stacks of things that we might do to fulfill that need. Yeah?
So we should focus on 1 or 2 stacks.
Yeah, don't try to cover them all because you run out of time. So probably 1 or 2 stacks is a really good idea. Yeah.
What do you want to do? Stack.
The two actually integrated.
So now we have some summary.
the colours come.
lifestyle stuff. Yeah, focus on that. Focus on just getting maybe.
Let's choose one.
Probably the speed of light, I would expect.
Press the button. Delay between you press the button actually.
You know, when you're destroying a planet, you're not going to be let's say, so I guess there's stuff around.
You press the button to make it.
And go away for half an hour.
It's a freaking planet destroyer. So, as long as it takes to close the roots of Tennessee, it's going to come
What are the weapons crew need? So
they're powerful.
okay, high success rate.
Yeah.
So chance of
Oh yeah, so they kind of 99.99.
Yeah, so you're not worrying about the chance of failure. Less than one of the, so for example, stuff like about this workstation, stuff about
Down the chain.
right now.
So half an hour.
I mean, you're right. It takes a while.
Mind you, that's one because that's like a dramatic thing.
It might have been warming up.
it's like, you know, it's not being a good movie, you just be like,
Once you decide
red is tomato. Let's not get bogged down. Let's
That's right. That's compared to other ones. So this is what.
What do you find?
I think it's green.
Like anything sort of Venus or light?
sorry, or maybe Mercury. Well, how big is it?
You should be able to sort of have a theory.
We're building one for the
Yeah, but you can have a laser that shoots it.
yeah, no, there's going to be a limit to how big it can be. Well, the thousand plus like power consumption is some sort of aiming yes, the power
So that's
just draw a line. Okay, Venus from a distance of
Why is it? It's like outside of his job.
So thanks, guys. Yeah.
During this break, can you explain a bit more
Yes, that would be lifestyle.
how user stories relate into what we're doing right in that step? Or just stop that?
Yeah, well, look, at one level they're all user stories, right? So, at one level they're all user stories. The idea, the essential idea of a user story is it's a container, right?
I've no idea.
It's a box, right? In it there's stuff, right? And that stuff emerges through dialogue and conversation and supported with some documents and lists, diagrams and stuff. So basically it's a ticket, it's a job, it's a box, it's a container, right? And what you're doing with these things is you're taking big containers and then you're unpacking them. And then you're looking at the smaller containers and then you're unpacking them. And you can keep on doing that until you get to something that's small enough that you can understand it, you can schedule it, you can forecast it, you know what you're doing and all that sort of stuff. So you can keep on unpacking these boxes until you get to a very fine-grained little piece of work. Yeah, in the context of the $853 gazillion of the Death Star, you know, we've only scratched the surface. Just so you know, it's 10:45 and it's morning tea time, so I might skip the last iteration, but like still run it if anyone wants to stick around and do another activity. But before I do that, I might just ask you guys for some feedback. What did you reckon? Like, I know we ran out of time, and that was because I was organising downstairs and I didn't walk in here prepared, right? I was like a bit, you know, messed up. But apart from that, how's the session? Anyone?
It was about Star Wars, so it was crap.
Okay. What did you learn?
It was about Star Wars, so it was good. Who cares about Star Wars?
Does it look like the West Australian story map?
Yeah, these are good.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, I would like to walk the walls and see what everyone else did. That would be good.
Yeah. So if you want to do that, like that might be the closeout. Like just like, you know, somebody from each team just kind of hang around and talk about what happened, and everyone else can just drift and, you know, just have a few minutes of conversation. Then go outside, go downstairs, get some coffee, tea, chocolate muffins. Is that all right? Like, because the next sessions are going to start in like 12 minutes or something. So,
Are we still in?
you can go wherever you want. I'm finished.
Thank you.